Well, guys, we already knew this was coming, right? We already knew. We should have seen this coming if you didn't. Spool has released their upgraded high-pressure fuel pump option for the Gen 2 B58. Surprise! That came out of nowhere. But, I mean, obviously this is not a bad thing, right? We love competition. More competition in the aftermarket means better quality products at better value for all of us. So this is a win-win all around. And on top of that, Spool is going to the next step and actually posting dyno results on their shop car. So they have an A90 Supra that they've been testing all of these parts on, and I think it gives a really good idea of what you guys can expect if you go with one of their upgrades. So in this video, we're just going to talk a little bit more about the different options we have and the results that they've seen so that you guys have a better idea of what you can expect, and hopefully you find this video useful.
Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future.
So like I said, Spool has released their upgraded high-pressure fuel pump option. They recently released the FX200 for the Gen 1 B58, as well as the FX170, and that's kind of an upgrade to their original Stage 1 and Stage 2 pumps. So now they have released the FX350, and just like the FX200 is called that because it's set up for a 200 bar fuel system, the FX350 is designed for a 350 bar fuel system. And I think I saw some mixed feedback in the past, or maybe some comments where people thought the 350 was technically like a stage 3 fuel pump for the Gen 1 B58. That is not the case. It's designed for the Gen 2. It's only for Gen 2 cars. Gen 1 cars cannot run it at 350 bar. And Spool even confirmed that the fuel pump will flow the same amount as an FX200 at the rated 350 bar. So it's definitely not worth trying to run it on your Gen 1 B58. Now that being said, this is great news because it does run at the higher 350 bar that a Gen 2 is designed to run at, and that was the main thing limiting them from being able to run a high pressure fuel pump upgrade. So basically you can expect the same limits to apply as the results that we saw on the FX200. Now, they did post a couple ratings just for people to have a frame of reference. So just the high pressure fuel pump will be able to support 840 wheel horsepower on pump gas, 680 wheel horsepower on E50, and 600 on E85. However, the Gen 2 B58 has a very low limit on their stock injectors. It's actually more limiting than the Gen 1 B58. So that's when you start running into the injector limits, not necessarily just the high pressure fuel pump limits. So as an additional reference, they posted that if you install injectors, it raises the limits for what the fuel pump can support. After you put injectors on the car, you'll be able to run 950 wheel horsepower on pump gas, 760 wheel horsepower on E50, and 680 on full E85. So a nice bump, up to 100 wheel horsepower more just by upgrading the injectors to one that can flow closer to what the high pressure fuel pump can flow. Then on top of that, they also announced that they're going to be releasing their upgraded cams for the Gen 2 B58. So again, that's basically the lift kit that's designed to optimize and maximize the flow of your high pressure fuel pump. And with that, they got some crazy ratings. It's showing 1,250 wheel horsepower on pump gas, 1,000 wheel horsepower on E50, and 900 wheel horsepower on full E85. So that's another case of, if you throw everything at it, this will be another DI system that can pretty much fill anybody's needs, even on full E85. So definitely very impressive to see the theoretical numbers. However, like I said, they actually put their Supra on the dyno so that they can test it with their different fuel pump options and show what it's capable of as well. So the Supra has an actual pretty simple build. It's a stock engine and stock transmission. It has their new IFX 1050 top mount turbo kit. They didn't specify what the actual turbo is, but based on the numbers, I'd say it's rated for 1,050 horsepower. It has an RK Autowerks intake manifold. It actually used to have port injection, but they turned it off for this test and disconnected the reflex and everything just so they could see what the fuel pump can handle. And they got an E50 tune flashed by David Shoup over MHD Tuning's app. And of course, it has an FX350 high pressure fuel pump. working through the tune, they were able to achieve a safe 650 wheel horsepower and 654 foot-pounds of torque. They called this the safe limit because as they pushed it a little bit further, you can see they were actually able to hit 670 wheel horsepower, but they were hitting some safety limits on injectors, and they feel like being in a hot climate at a high DA, it was just a little more limiting, and they didn't want to push it that hard, so they locked it down at 650 wheel. Now you can see in this video, they show that the high pressure fuel pump has a lot of room to go. So this was definitely a second sign that the injectors were just at their limit. So they went back and updated their injectors. They installed the IFX 350 Gen 2 injectors that they've designed for the Gen 2 B58 to get past those injector limits. And they went back to tuning. And you can see here they got up to 705 wheel horsepower and 693 foot-pounds of torque. And they actually felt like there was still a little bit more headroom, but they're going to go ahead and upgrade the cams and see how much farther they can push it from there. Now keep in mind this probably is going to be limited by the stock transmission, just like the Gen 1 numbers that they were posting before. If they see crazy numbers on this Gen 2, I anticipate that they'll want to upgrade the transmission before pushing it on the street and getting like draggy times and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see when they're able to do that. In the meantime, they did mention that they're going to be working on HP75 upgrades, which is kind of like a new transmission upgrade option that we're starting to see more and more of. I'll try to make a video on that in the future as well, but it sounds like that's the route they're going to be going on the Supra. So excited to see once they build it where it can really handle the torque and see what that power looks like and how it performs on the road. Now, another nice thing that a lot of you guys might have been thinking of is the S58 actually runs the same B58 TU pump. It runs two of them, which is why they're able to flow so much on a stock fuel system without much upgrades. So in theory, it should be able to run the same FX350 fuel pump, but they're going to need some kind of modification to make it work because, of course, like I said, they'll need two fuel pumps. You'll probably need to bend the hard lines and stuff to make it fit, and there might be other accommodations needed for clearances in the engine bay or anything like that. So they did say they're going to be releasing an upgrade for the S58, so we can keep an eye out for that announcement, but it's just a good sign that this is coming down for them as well. So all of you M3, M4, X3M guys, keep an eye out for that. That'll be a great way to make big power without adding port injection to your car. Now, finally, of course, we got to talk about the price, which is significantly more expensive than the FX200. It's about $500 more currently, although they are having a sale for the first month after release. So if this is something you're interested in, go ahead and place your order, and at least you can get, if not the first batch, one of the first ones that are coming out over the next month or so. But after that, the price will be going up, and they just basically said, the way that they have to manufacture these pumps with really high tolerances and customizing them to work for the 350 bar fuel systems is a very expensive process that uses expensive tooling. So it kind of is what it is. We don't have a lot of options, and I know most of them are north of $1,500 anyway. But this one being brand new with the new technology and a new fuel system is going to be expensive. We'll just have to work with that for now. Also on the injectors, they haven't actually posted the product page as of me filming this video. So if that changes, I'll add a link down in the description where you guys can see more information on that as well. And we're waiting for the cam testing, which hopefully will be done soon. And it sounds like they should be able to hit a lot of horsepower. I'm hoping for 800 plus, hold me to that. If they can get 800 plus with E50 to E85, that would be very, very impressive in my opinion. So yeah, again, shout out to Spool for coming out with some real data on this and posting up their dyno results. I'll post their social media and everything in the video description so you guys can keep up with the latest information. They post a lot on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, so that's kind of the easiest way to keep up with what they're doing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.